What's up, y'all? It's Zarandrian Morris, aka the Ignorant Intellectual, the bridge between the hood and the ivory tower, black excellence, no formal education required. So I know usually I'm talking about like thoughtful things, like structural analyses of the world, but this might evolve into that. But first of all, I want to shout out my first friend, Erica Reed. My first friend. So I met Erica day one of PSSP, summer 1997, June something. I think it was June 13th, 1997. And we did a summer program at Spelman before school started. So the other day, maybe last week, I wasn't really paying attention. Erica texted me, "What's your address?" And I just sent her my address, and I didn't really think about it. And then in comes the mail, a package, and I was like, "What is this?" And it was a ring, a light, the new O-rings. I guess Erica, listen, that's my girl. She like, it ain't bright enough where you at, so I'm gonna send you something that's very practical. That's very Erica. So thank you, bro. Thank you. You know I love you all day. So I was thinking, because COVID, I'm at home. People don't need to see your process. Really, people only need to see your product. And it's not necessarily about a structural analysis, but people don't always need to see your process. They really just need to see your product. So I remember my first big contract, it was a $9,000 contract, and it was with the Arthur Ashe Institute. And background, so formally I have two master's degrees in public health, two MPHs, one in epidemiology and one in biostatistics. So I would probably have to relearn a lot of the new stats programs, but I've always been good at math. So I am both an epidemiologist and a biostatistician, which is perfect in this time when we have a respiratory virus happening in the world. And so Arthur Ashe Institute in Brooklyn hired me because they was trying to convert kind of barbers and beauticians into lay educators to educate their clients about HIV. And I was not passing up this contract. It was a $9,000 contract, and that is still a lot of money, and it definitely was a lot of money back then. And so they wanted me to analyze some of their data. But the thing is, I didn't have a statistical program on my computer to analyze their data. But I still needed to turn in a product because I had signed a contract. And the data set was too big for Excel. And I don't really remember Stata. And so at the time I was living in Atlanta and have a friend named Tina Niece, shout out homie, hooked me up with access to one of Morehouse's computer labs that had SPSS on it. And the data set was simple enough that I didn't really need SAS. SPSS would have worked. And so Tina hooked me up with access to one of Morehouse's computer labs to work all day for like a week straight to really finish this product for my client. And the Arthur Ashe Institute, and that access really catapulted my career to be able to afford SPS. And actually I bought SAS because I'm better at SAS. Although it's more complicated than SPSS, that was what we was trained at to really use at Tulane, which is where I went to grad school. So that $9,000 contract got me enough money, of course, to buy a new laptop, which I still have today. SAS is probably expired. It is expired on that laptop, but that allowed me to purchase the statistical program that actually helped me get other contracts. And I say all that to say that Arthur Ashe Institute did not need to know that I didn't have the statistical program. They just needed the output, and they just needed to know for me to run statistical programs for them to see the outcomes of the implementation of they turning the barbers into lay educators. And so I say all that to say is all they needed to see was the final analysis. So I have a friend who is a master caterer now, and I remember his first gig, the client needed more food than he had. And all the client needed was for the food spread to be there for the wedding. And so he was panicking because he did not know how he was going to do this. Luckily, his mama is an old black lady who have a deep freezer. And his mama let him ransack her deep freezer for all the things he needed to make this wedding a successful event. The client didn't need to know that he didn't have money to buy food for their wedding. All they needed was the outcome was food at the wedding. And I say all that to say that sometimes, again, people don't need to see your process. They just need to see the product. You don't always need to. Sometimes, and I also am a firm believer that sometimes you have to say yes and let the universe give you the how and the why later. You just say yes, trusting that it will come in time for you to give and yield a quality product to your client. And so that's what, for me, I don't believe in grinding. I believe in being aligned. But if you gonna hustle and if you gonna grind, that needs to be the hustle and the grind. Making it happen by any means, preferably legal means. I'm not out here telling people to do illegal shit. Although slavery was legal, shit, the Holocaust was legal. So take that with what you will. But ideally, legal stuff so people not getting arrested. But shit happens. And so I want to be clear that as entrepreneurs, we are paid to absorb the stress of the reality that we had to go through to get the client the product. Like, that is why I charge so much money to do the work that I do, because you are also paying me to be stressed. That is why one of the taglines for the Ignorant Intellectual Group is, let me do the equitable thinking for you, but you're going to pay me to have to think for you. So that is some of the things that was on my mind that I really wanted to get here and share. And to also understand that structurally, a lot of times the reasons why black people who are not white, are structurally at a disadvantage is because of structural barriers. So lack of seed money can impede many dreams. Sometimes in order to distinguish in the decision making of how you want to form your company, LLC or nonprofit, you tend to need seed money, aka usually generational wealth, to make a successful LLC. Whereas you're more eligible for a whole bunch more grants and stuff if you choose a nonprofit route, but that's often at a cost. And so I just want to leave y'all with, honor your process and display your product. So honor your process and display your product. Your client does not always need to see your process, the struggles you had to go through to deliver the product. In many ways, you are being paid to be stressed. So charge for your stress, honey. And some people are impeded by the thought that they don't have access, or that the process is going to be a struggle. The process may be a struggle. To design the Ignorant Intellectual Group was deeply front-ended stress and struggle. And it still is in many ways stressful. I mean, I talk about racism all day. Not all day, but So I want to, again, leave y'all with that. Honor your process and display your product. So I'm about to wrap that up. I already been talking for 8 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm about to upload this to Instagram, YouTube, and all that. I really want to thank everybody for following me, for supporting me, for seeing the vision, for understanding why, the why, and the why, and the why, and the why. I really love y'all. Peace.